Welcome to the Frisco Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Ellis, filling in for Nicole Barron, who's out on vacation right now, but it's good to be back. And I'm here today with Donny Churchman and Yvonne Brown. We're going to talk all about the Rail District and new stuff and updates and all that good stuff. Donny, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you. And Yvonne, thank you for joining us as well. You're keeping up with all the stuff that Donny's working on. So
yeah, it's good to be back.
I think you're going to have some good insights for us.
Yes, delighted to have Nack Development in the chair.
Absolutely. So first things first, let's kick it off with a little bit of your background and how you even came to be working on and doing so much development in the Rail District.
Background for me, I jumped into the industry about 20 years ago as a lobbyist in California for the Building Industry Association. So I really got to learn the ins and outs from builders, developers, et cetera, on what's important to them, what matters to them, but then also working on the municipality side and having to negotiate with them on different ordinances and fees and things like that. You know, it's a whole different animal in California. And loved the industry and just really catapulted from there. But it was really fed to me from my family experience. A lot of folks have heard where my grandparents were very integral in the growth of the city of Pasadena, California, from planning commission to city council to my grandmother being mayor in 1994 of Pasadena. And then my mom was an economic developer in Northern California for two different counties. And, you know, it's just really that servant attitude that is in my blood, is the way I was raised on how to do things the right way, but you're doing things to serve your community. And I think that's oftentimes what's missed when they hear Nack Development or what I'm doing downtown. They just think developer. And a lot of folks, you hear it all the time, that developers are just greedy developers, where I want to develop in the sense that I'm serving my community. I'm making the community I live in better, and I'm a Frisco resident. And for me to see, when I moved here almost 8 years ago, downtown Frisco, there was nobody there, right?
Yeah.
No one was coming to downtown. And we still call it the drive-through on Main Street instead of the drive-to. And for Frisco being what it's going to be and what it already is, to me that's embarrassing, right? Why is our downtown dilapidated, for lack of a better word, or blighted? And when the Double Dip property and the car wash property came up for sale, Matt Calloway approached me, and he had this grandiose idea for that property and what it could be. And at first I thought he was crazy, right? That I think a lot of people, when they talked to Matt, they said, don't see it. But I saw it. I saw what he was talking about for that parcel, for that little project at Main and North County, Main and South County. But when we started to look more at the downtown in general, from the railroad tracks all the way down to Meadow, and then talking with John Lettler with the city, et cetera, said, okay, I think now is the time to take this ignored part of Frisco for the last 80 years and let's update it. Let's bring it back to being the core of the city, the heartbeat of Frisco. And let's get people to want to come down here and they want to stay down here. And, you know, that's just kind of the long, short version of how we got to where we're at.
Well, and it sounds like such a simple idea, and yet, you know, I can remember conversations, very, very early on when we were starting Lifestyle Frisco that we had with people saying they wish there was more happening in downtown. Like McKinney had this great little downtown they were building, and it was very cool.
Right, yeah.
And other areas had that, and here we are, Frisco, everything's exploding, and yet our downtown is just kind of vacant and bare. And I think the idea is fairly simple, but it really does take somebody with the vision and the resources to be able to come in, and the experience to say, okay, if we want to make downtown Frisco something special, here's a vision, here's what we can go about and do. And I just don't think anybody else had come along yet that really had that. And we're glad to see you taking that on, because we totally agree. It's a part of Frisco that's been neglected, and we want to see a lot more happen with that.
Did you feel that when you first discovered the downtown area, kind of like what happened to me, that you're walking through and you're looking, you can see what we would say the wood for the trees. You're seeing these beautiful old houses and properties that could be so much more. Was that how it kind of came about the first time? Do you remember the first time you walked through and went, this could be so much better?
I remember the first time I was down there, and my initial thought was, where is everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You have this lined main street of historical buildings that withstood the fire in 1922, and they're still there, but there's no one on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
everybody's driving through, as you said.
Yeah.
And I used to get out of my car and walk, and I would discover small little businesses. And Scott and Wendy, way back in the beginning, 5 years ago now, used to let me write about some of these little businesses that were hiding. And then people would say, where's that? But there was so much more potential for it to be bigger or more concentrated with different types of businesses, right?
Yeah, and one of the things you hear me talk about in downtowns, because downtowns is officially my passion, right? It's what I love to do. I've had the opportunity to develop, the 100 acres, the 500 acres, and things like that. But it seems like everyone wants to do that, right? I want to focus on downtowns. And the phrase I love to coin and talk about is when you're downtown, for example, we just had the parade. Right?
Yeah.
It's everybody's neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I like to think of downtown. Is
Yeah.
that downtown is everybody's neighborhood. You can spend the whole day there and feel comfortable and feel like you belong there, and you can connect with the people there. And
I think the Rail District just got its tagline.
right.
I like that, though. It's good.
That it truly is. When you're down there and you're experiencing it, you feel like you're in your own neighborhood. And if you can feel that way, and I can feel that way, and you can feel that way, but we all live in different neighborhoods, but in downtown we feel like it's our neighborhood. It's everybody's neighborhood. Yeah. And that's one of the things I've been challenged with is when I started this, I knew I'd take some arrows in the back, right?
People are resistant to change. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of the comments that I've seen on social media, they didn't get it, right? Why would anyone want to change downtown? And then the same person says, I haven't shopped or been down there in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's why we need to do something at downtown so these merchants can make it.
Yeah.
Right? We need them to be able to sustain their business, and it's our duty to go down there and help them. Right? If you want a downtown to stay the way it is, certainly frequent the establishments down there.
Well, and I think one of the things that we've seen you working on that we really love is character. So downtown has history, it has character, where everything else in Frisco is shiny and new, and we love that.
Yeah.
But I like the contrast as well, where we've got this historic district, the Rail District, and it just has a bit of a different feel inside of Frisco. So let's start there and talk about the developments that you do have going in Frisco, and what are some of the things that are coming down the pipe, so people have know what to look forward to.
Yeah, I think what got everyone's attention initially was the patios at the rail. So that is over 38,000 square feet of retail, restaurant, and office at the corner of North County and Main, where the Double Dip Custard site was. About 3 weeks ago or so, we started our demolition. That was exciting to see, because to me that was progress in motion, right? We were rolling, and roughly 2 weeks from now we will start our official construction of the site.
Okay. Exciting.
So I don't know the exact date that we're on. What is today? But in any case, roughly 2 weeks from now, right around the first week in December, we're going to be rolling on that site. We have amazing tenants that we're talking to right now that ever since we started the demolition, we're getting 3 to 4 phone calls a day of people that want to come into our site.
Right. Exciting. Okay.
Yeah, and
be a part of it.
Yeah, it's almost what we anticipated. We thought we were going to have some initial interest before we start, but once we actually start and people see that it's actually happening, we're going to get a lot of phone calls. And 3 to 4 today now is going to just multiply once they actually see the construction going. So it allows us to be picky on who's going to come into that site, who fits this rail district theme. The again, it's the franchises that we aren't going for. It's those unique concepts that really make a downtown quaint and
That's
special.
right. You're looking for. I was going to say you're looking for someone special to fill those places that you have. You've already got a couple of people who are going in that we know in Frisco. Talk about a couple of those people that have chosen to take.
Exciting that some of them, and humbling that they said, "Hey, we'll jump in with you before you get started." One, I believe you featured them recently, was Tumbleweed Textiles.
We love Tumbleweed Textiles.
We do. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they made our shirts. Great story too.
Yeah, and I believe they just launched their Frisco line as well. With they have the Frisco shirt. I saw one saying Frisco Socialite. Loved that. They have the Rail District shirt that we collaborated with them on, and those guys are so creative and so good at what they do. So collaboration meant, how about a different color shirt? Because their design was already fantastic, right? I mean, what am I going to say? That's not my cup of tea, right? That's not my expertise. And it's exciting to have them. We have Angie and Louie from Brisbane, Australia, that have moved here.
That's right. The coffee.
Yeah, that they were.
Yeah. Tell us more about that. I've heard about this, and I'm really excited.
First of all,
that's amazing.
Angie and Louie are amazing people. Frisco's going to love them. They don't want to just have one cafe or one restaurant in the city. They're going to have multiple. And in Brisbane, Australia, actually Graceville, I believe, in Australia, they had Honor Espresso, which is a cafe coffee, but also get your breakfast, get your avocado toast, but get their twist on an Eggs Benedict, or just a unique entree that we don't get to see every day here, but when I look at pictures, I salivate, right? It's one of those where, like, oh, this is going to be amazing. But I think they're changing their name. I believe they're going to be Aussie Grind in Frisco. At least one of their locations is. I'm not sure if that's the title they'll use at the patios. But they've also, in Australia, they really focused on the bicyclists. That community of bicyclists would come through their cafe. And I believe they're going to be able to do the same thing for Frisco as well. And this is when Councilmember Bill Woodard gets excited, saying, well, can we get some bike lanes? And
I believe it's in the master plan too. They included bike lanes, and I know a couple of the other restaurants down there are including like a bike rack in the front now. That's what they're going to do, because they want to encourage people to come in a different mode of transport and hang out.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that, because one of the things we're doing on all of our developments, like I believe in front of the patios, our sidewalks are 18 feet wide.
Wow.
We're going to have bike racks there, of course, but unique to the Rail District design. So it's not going to be a bike rack you'll see at a school, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll have a unique design to it, just to complement the district that we're in.
Those are the kinds of things that make a neighborhood walkable, though, like that space, just so people aren't on top of each other all the time.
Yeah, it's truly going to be a place everyone wants to be. Yeah. Right? And they just feel safe.
Okay, is there anybody else coming to the patios that you want to or can talk about at this point?
Yeah, Brookie Lynn's Bungalow has a spinoff that she's bringing to the patios.
Okay.
It's really neat what her ideas on what she's going to be doing off of her brand. It's going to be a unique concept that she's going to be able to capitalize on, but also her idea, without giving too much away, is really going to serve the community. It's going to be it's needed, and she's going to be able to fill a void with her idea there.
Okay.
You also have someone there who epitomizes the Frisco downtown Rail District area. She's somebody who you want to be your neighbour. She's somebody who you want to do business with, and is very passionate about life there. So to have her in one of your projects is only going to add to it immensely, and she's going to draw a wonderful crowd.
Yeah, she already has an amazing following.
Yeah.
But just the Callaways themselves, they epitomize downtown Frisco, the Rail District.
I'm glad you connected with him and you had that kind of interaction that was able to explode, really, and make this what it is.
Yeah, they're just real, right? You can sit down and have a conversation and collaborate, which Matt and I have done a ton of
ideas.
Yeah, and he'll throw something out there, and I'll say, that's a good idea, and I'll throw something out there, and he'll say, that's a bad idea. And then next thing you know, we arrive on something, and now we run it through another group of folks, almost a focus group. And we've really tried to make it female-centric to really get the Frisco moms down there. What do they want to see? One of the first things we heard were rooftop patios.
Yeah.
Right. Second thing we heard was, but if I have a rooftop patio, where can I put my kids? Right.
Yeah.
So that's
Good question.
how we have a park on top of a parking garage at the patios.
Yes.
Right off of the rooftop deck. So that it's going to be a really neat project. We have a children's smaller children's boutique coming in as well to the spot, to the patios. We have another boutique. I'm not sure if I can mention the name, so I won't, not to get myself in trouble. That's also coming in to the patios as well. So we are almost 100% leased out on our first floor.
We're going to be breaking some news next year
for the patios. Yeah,
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
This is good news. This is fun. Yeah.
No, it's everyone's very excited about this location, and then the ones that are coming after larger space for the second floor or third floor, very unique users that it's so 2020 is what it is. When I hear they do what, and then when they tell me what they do, I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't know those existed. But it's 2020, right? It's users that are like, oh, really cool.
Okay.
That's really neat.
What about then moving kind of a block south, I guess, or to the towers, the Tower of the Rail?
Yeah,
that's under construction right now too.
The tower is, the tower site development's already going on that deal. Small deal, 8 luxury brownstones that we have for sale. I believe we have 5 left.
Brownstone, Scott.
Brownstones, literally.
I love that they're called that.
Yes, literally designed out of Virginia. Right, so I went and toured some cities in the D.C. area where they have some of the best brownstones in America. And Chevy Chase, Maryland, had this design that I fell in love with. And that's what we're starting to design our brownstones after. And it's crazy, this exact same brownstone, not exact same because we had to design it ourselves, but a similar look, similar square footage, etc. 1.3, 1.4 million there.
Wow. Right,
that you're getting for under 500,000 here.
Yeah.
And it's the same brownstone. What I love about it is we have the rooftop terraces. There's over 500 square feet on top of those brownstones.
And each brownstone has its own individual terrace.
Yeah, each one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Overlooks
really
an
nice
open space to then there's a commercial building, 8,000 square feet that, again, some exciting conversations happening on leasing that out right now. Beautiful view of the iconic Frisco Water Tower. That project, because it's so small in land mass, is probably my favorite.
Really?
Just because we took less than an acre and recreated it. And it really took a lot of iterations of plans and working with the planner, the engineer, the architects, and in some cases financial parties that were interested said, well, have you thought about this? And then we do a little twist on the design, and it's turned out to be, for lack of a better term, perfectly Rail District.
Okay. When is it going to be move-in ready? When is that one finishing up?
May, June.
Okay. Is that the first one of the projects that will be?
Yeah, that one will be completed first. However, patios is going to be right behind it.
Right on its heels.
Yeah, we should have that thing constructed, move-in ready into summer.
Okay.
So that's really exciting to be a part of that.
Okay, very good. So those are the first 2. And then I believe
the next one is my favorite.
2 more or 1 more project?
Two
Two more. Yes.
2
so
more
let's
that
talk
we can
about
talk
the
about.
calaboose.
The calaboose. I just love
2 more we can talk about. That was
2
a good
more we
little,
can talk
I'm not
about.
letting that slip
I love
by.
the history behind
the
this.
The calaboose is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about the project, but first the name for anybody who hasn't heard it. It's a great story.
So this property, when we bought it, was vacant. But about, I want to say roughly 8 years ago, 9 years ago, maybe even longer, the last remaining building on there was this little clay shack, for lack of a better word, called the Calaboose. And the Calaboose is where, for many years, the locals, the sheriff or local police officer, whoever it was, would take someone who maybe had just acted out the night before for whatever reason and threw them in the Calaboose to cool off for the night. No electricity, no running water, literally dirt on the floor, 1, 2, 3 windows, I believe, with bars on them. And they'd wake up the next morning, probably say, where the heck am I? And how do I get home? Right? And it was just a place that it was used almost as a jail cell.
Like we would have seen this as kids on movies, old Western movies years ago or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
like
and
Bonanza or something.
yeah,
like
it's thrown in there.
Just go in there and cool off and then go home later.
Yeah, so that we decided, and if you get to see the design, if you haven't seen it yet, on our townhomes or our brownstones there, on the 4th floor we have a half room, and it is designed to look just like the Calaboose.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a side window on it and then 2 windows front facing, and it truly is designed to look like the Calaboose looked. Just, again, it's a tip of the cap to what it once was.
And again, it fits in with the whole rail district theme so well.
It does. I did have literally just someone last night reach out to me saying, are you really going to call this the Calaboose? They wanted to know if it was a typo. Because a lot of people think it's the caboose. Right. And it's the Calaboose. And, to that person that did reach out, you have a legitimate question, because Calaboose means the dungeon. Right?
Wow. That's right. So it's an old Spanish name.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure we want to market brownstones as the dungeon. But if we just have the top floor, paying homage to the dungeon, right? Send your kids up there, right? Time out.
Yeah, good idea.
Time out.
Yes. So that project actually also that has 20 brownstones.
Okay.
And there's also some commercial going in as well?
Yes, there's 24,000 square feet of office.
Right.
On the north side of the property, right up against Main Street. That could be anything from a co-working space to a smaller corporate headquarters.
Yeah.
It's a ideal location, right? Manny's is right across the street. Again, our sidewalks are going to be expanded, so you can walk
where
right down
exactly
Main.
is this? Is it on the south side of Main, next to Manny's, on that side?
Yeah, so it's on the south side of Main,
Got
First and Frisco Square, technically.
Yep.
And so Manny's would technically be on 2nd Street, so we're on the west side of 2nd Street from Manny's.
Okay, very good.
Quite a cool location, because in the overall master plan, just on the other side of the tracks is going to be the design district, the proposed design district. So, which will come probably a year or so after your development is built. So it'll be so cool to kind of live there, or even if you work there, as you say, in the offices and just walk over and hang out at those very unique kind of shops and stores and everything. So it's a great location. Yet it's just in off the street and easy accessible.
Yeah, it comes back to what I said a few minutes ago when I first went down there. What was my initial thought? And it was, where are all the people? Mm-hmm. Well, now we're bringing them.
Yeah.
Right, with these brownstones, with the offices, with the retail, and they all play off off of each other. Mm-hmm. Where I think what we've seen a lot of people try and do was, hey, I'm just going to bring a restaurant to the rail district.
Yeah.
Right, or I'm going to bring an office to the rail district, or hey, let's build a home or two in downtown, or let's open up a store. And what we really needed is all of these different uses to play off of each other.
Mm-hmm. And connect.
Yes.
Connectivity is a big thing. And this area, too, will connect eventually down to Babes and the Heritage Centre, which is already there. That sometimes gets overlooked. And into Frisco Square and the library for everybody. It's all going to be walkable.
Yeah. And, and that kind of leads to what's missing, right? Well, it's the entertainment. Mm-hmm. Right, so we're bringing the first piece of entertainment as well right across Main Street from the Calaboose, and that's the Nack Theater. And we've had different people say, how do you arrive at Nack Theater? I probably should have covered that. My grandparents, that's their last name, is Nack, loved going to the theater. Oh
my gosh, makes so much sense.
Yeah, as a way just to say, thank you for everything you did for me. Let's allow this to be your legacy. at least a portion of it. So the Nack Theater is named after them. And
did you always have an idea in mind somewhere to develop a theater, or did this just kind of make sense?
No, I think every downtown that I've fallen in love with has had some type of historical theater or opera house or something like that. I had Brad Sharp with the arts approach me about different things in the arts, and he made an introduction for me to Randy. Randy, I can't pronounce your last name, but Archambault, yes, or Archambault, or Randy A. And we sat down at Summer Moon, had a cup of coffee, and Randy just shared with me the need that the Frisco Youth Theater had for a home. And while they don't need it every day of the year or every weekend of the year for that matter, they needed a home. And, Frisco is... right, Sports City USA, and I'm Sports City USA myself. I live and die sports. I still coach my 14-year-old on his select baseball team. I love sports. But there's a great deal of kids that are not involved in sports that are involved in the arts.
Yep.
And they deserved a home, especially these in the Frisco Youth Theater. And I told Randy, I don't know if we can make it work, but I'll certainly try. And I think what snowballed from there was it doesn't have to just be the Frisco Youth Theater. Yeah. Right? Let's have comedy night here for us. Whoa, excuse me. For us, where we can go out.
Yeah.
Right?
Date night and meet friends.
Yeah. And what's going to come from that is we can bring in different acts from across the country, from all of our different relationships. It seems like everyone knows somebody in entertainment. Right, and the next thing you know, it's the Josh Abbott band showing up to play, or someone from Saturday Night Live's coming out for a weekend or something like that. And that's what we hope to bring with this theater, where maybe you start at the rail yard, go to a show at the theater, end up at the rail yard, or maybe you start at 8-11, go see a show, end up at the patios.
Yep. No, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it creates a lot of opportunity.
A lot of opportunity, a lot of foot traffic, and more reason to come downtown.
How big will the theater be?
It's a 200-seat theater. We'll have a little bit of upstairs seating, but not a lot. It's about 40. I want to say it's 4,900 square feet. So it's truly an old-style theater. And we try to your point, we try to keep the architecture where it's not shiny and new, which isn't easy, right? The materials they make today are all shiny and new. Yeah. But, we're going to put some murals on the side of the buildings and things like that where it feels like it's been there for a long time.
What's your timeline, Donny, on that?
It'll be completed in 2019.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're all going to kind of fall in place one after another.
Hopefully. Yeah, all within months of each other.
You're going to have a busy year next year. You got a lot of things coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to go on vacation.
Well, it's going to have to wait for just a little while longer, I think. But
because everybody's anticipating waiting and looking forward to this.
So if people want to find out more, keep up with progress, obviously we're going to be covering this. Yvonne is all over it, so you can always go to lifestylefrisco.com and just find Yvonne's articles, and you'll find stuff on the Rail District. But outside of that, where can they come to find out more about Nack and the things that you guys are working on?
So nackdevelopment.com. And a lot of people think they're hearing Nack, and it's actually N as in Nancy, not M as in mouse.
Okay. Yeah.
So N as in Nancy, ACK, development.com. We try and update that as often as possible with our new projects, etc. And then also Nack Development has a Facebook page. We're soon going to have the patios up and running on their website. We have towerattherail.com. And they also have their own Facebook page as well. So we try and update everything via social media with our website. Tomorrow night, not to get too far out over our ski tips, but I'm presenting in another city to help them with their downtown.
Oh, excellent!
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
North Texas City?
North Texas City. Okay. But over the last 7 days, because of what we're doing is so unique and we're so passionate about it, we've been contacted by 3 cities within Texas, and one actually in Delaware, just in the last week, for what we're doing in Frisco.
Wow.
So we have our work cut out for us, right? And what we want to do, and the communities we want to change. And there's one investor I brought on that has just been an amazing business partner to be, is a gentleman named Torrey Hunter. Played 25 years in Major League Baseball for the Twins, the Tigers, and the Angels. And when he first started talking to me about what I'm doing, and I shared this recently, and someone else I was talking to, he said, "Do you understand that you're doing God's work?" And no one had ever said that to me. And I thought what he meant was by being a servant to the community. And I said, "Do you mean because I'm serving the community?" He says, "Well, yeah, but you got to read Isaiah 58:12 and Isaiah 61:4. And it talks about we will rebuild communities.
Oh, wow.
The streets in which we dwell will be rebuilt." And he says, when you're doing these in these towns, that's exactly what you're doing, which probably is the number one reason why he wanted to get involved.
That needs to be incorporated into a mural on the side of the theater or something.
Yes, we just added 58:12 to our website.
Yeah.
Very good.
But yeah, it to have that pointed out to us on what we're doing, and that we are really reconstructing areas that need it, and the community is going to benefit from that. It feels good to be a part of that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sounds so exciting.
Well, we are extremely grateful to have you doing that in Frisco. We're excited about all of the things happening in the Rail District. Wish you well, and please let us know how we can help spread the word or help in any other way.
Well, yeah, you guys have been amazing. Yvonne's all over the Rail District.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a passion of mine down there.
And your coverage of the Rail District has been fantastic, so thank you for that.
Well, it's going to keep going, and
sure.
we'll amp it up as things continue to come online. So.
Yeah. And I know all of the other merchants are excited about you making space down there, redeveloping space, and it's only going to enhance their situation. So
it's to build on, not to just build new.
Yeah.
Right? It's to help them out.
Okay, well, we're going to print off some Get Out of Calaboose free cards for the grand opening to hand out, just in case anybody has too much. But no, guys, look forward to that Rail District. Drive through downtown, stop in, see some of the shops. Keep your eyes open because there's a whole lot of good stuff coming on down there. And Donny, thank you so much for driving that and bringing that vision to Frisco.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Thanks again for having me.
You bet.
Yeah,
and Yvonne, thanks for joining us again today.
Yes,
good to have you back on the
Great
podcast.
time. So glad I could participate with Donny, and we look forward to it. We'll do some more. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, guys, thank you very much, and thank you for tuning into the Frisco Podcast. We'll talk to you next time.
You're listening to RMCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.